Right, good morning again. A little further ahead with the turret today, here's the news. Um, I've painted the caudal brace stiffeners. This one's got its little light bulb installed for wiring in later. I'm still lacking the correct bolts to bolt that to the rest of the superstructure, so I'll have to wait. What I need to do next is to check the operation of the elevation and depression cams. So there's long wires that come out of both switches, and I'll need to check that they're operating in the correct sense and at the correct point. I'll do that by making little circuits with light bulbs which represent whether or not there's power to the RAM. If both lights are on, then the RAM is free to move in either direction. If one lamp stops, then it should be unable to pass that point, and the whole thing should be well within the mechanical limits of the turret's elevation and depression. What's been added, if I take these guns out, just so they don't fall off, they're not mounted yet properly. Incidentally, you may have noticed that both guns have a left and a right on them. This is because they're actually handed, so that the cocking lever is on the inboard face of the starboard gun, so that's on the left hand side of the gun, and on the port gun or left gun, then again it's on the inboard face and therefore on the right. To save trouble, the armourers used to paint an L or an R on it to make sure they didn't put the gun with the cocking lever on the right face of the weapon into the starboard slot, because that would cause a lot of problems. Things that I've added today have been I've obviously painted and installed the gun cradle, and I've started adding these linkages. It's pleasingly free of play when moved, but and it is slackening off, but there's a little bit more mechanical resistance than I was hoping for, despite grease everything with Vaseline. What you can see here is that as the guns depress, this lever here is raised, which moves the rod, which causes the sight bar to depress and remain parallel to the guns as the cradle is depressed or indeed elevated. All of this whole structure, there's virtually no glue on it anywhere. I've tried really hard to avoid gluing anything together, and the reason for this is that because the assembly is relatively complex, it gives me the ability to back out of an assembly if I've painted myself into a corner, so to speak. A few other bits and pieces that have been added. You can see here that the inserts for the ammunition tanks are actually very shallow, because there was no point, putting hundreds of rounds beneath these ones. So the void space within the two ammunition tanks will be used either for ballast or for electronics. So on top of on the top layer of the tank, there's these rounds and the dividers, because each tank contained 2 boxes of ammunition. What else? That's about it really. I'll just show you the thing moving again. So here you can see how the linkage works. I'll do a film on using machine screws with printed SLS nylon as it's worked relatively well, and I think that may help some other people. That about does it for now, I think. So I'll bring this to a halt, but so the next phase is wiring up all these cables with lamps, and make sure the CAN system is working correctly.